Hi everyone, I'm Rachel, and in this tutorial I want to show you how to paint a beautiful black and white portrait using the Color Therapy app. You can make an ordinary portrait look dramatic by applying a harsh light on one side of the face and using shadows to blacken the background and the other half of the subject. This technique can be used on any portrait and can completely change the mood. So if you want to follow along with the same image I'm using, go under the Classic tab, select People, and then scroll down to Guy Hairstyles and you'll find it in there. Alright, so the very first step you want to do is just color in the entire image using all tones of gray. So you want a black all the way up to a light whitish gray. So let's go ahead and choose those from the color palette. So open that up. Let's grab a basic black and white first. Make sure it's solid. And then under the basic palette again, scroll over to shades of gray. This time let's go ahead and set it to gradient and let's choose 3 different gray tones. So I'll choose a very light gray, a medium gray, and then a very dark gray. And then let's just choose one more gray and let's set that sort of a medium to light gray as well. So we have 4 different tones of gray on a spectrum as well as black. So let's go ahead and fill in the background with black. Just tap to fill it all in, as well as his glasses. And then with a medium gray, let's go ahead and set that to a radial gradient so it's lighter on the inside and tap to fill in the shirt. Then use the darkest gray with the same radial gradient selected and just tap to fill in the hair, as well as the eyebrows. Then for the face, we'll use a medium to light gray for that. Let's set the gradient going from left to right, being lighter on the left side. Tap to fill it in on the face and the neck. Make sure you get all the other little areas in the glasses and under the eyebrows. And the reason why I chose to make the face lighter on one side is because that's going to be the side where the light is going to shine on it. So from here on out, make sure that all of your gradients are going to be light to dark from the left to the right. So I'll do the same thing with the lips with a darker gray. I'm going to just tap to fill it in, make sure it's lighter on the left side. And the eyes, I'm going to do that same dark gray. And then the whites of the eyes, I'll use the lightest gray I had before. Okay, so now at this point, we're going to switch over to manual mode. And now we need to start adding in all of the shadows and highlights. So I recommend using a reference for something like this. Try to find a black and white portrait of someone just to see how the shadows and the highlights will look on someone's face. So the first thing we want to do is just start drawing in those black lines around the nose and the eyes, the lips, the chin. Any of the black lines you see that we're going to remove later, you'll want to trace over those. So let's do that first. Select black and then in the manual mode, set it to airbrush. And I'm going to lower the size all the way to about 1% and the opacity to 30%. So I'm just going to sort of start to trace the nose. And the more you zoom in, the more detail you can get. You can also use the Apple Pencil. I'm going to extend the nose all the way up here too. And this line is going to help inform me where to add the shadows. And then for the lips and the eyes, you want to make sure you have coloring inside the lines mode set to on, just outline them. I'm also going to add a bit of a shadow on the inside of the eye because it'll look more realistic that way. So you'll want to add a little bit of a shadow under the bottom lip and then on the corner of the right side of the lip. And then just outline underneath the neck. Now let's start shading the right side of the face to start building up those dark, dramatic shadows. So in the manual mode, let's raise the size all the way to 100 and the opacity up to 70%. And still using black and making sure the coloring inside the lines mode is on, just start to add in some dark shadows. And the further right side of the face is going to be the darkest. It's almost going to fade into the darkness of the background. So you can make that even darker with layers. Now we need to do some detail shadows as well. So open up the manual mode, lower the size to 10%, and also lower the opacity to about 50%. And again, like I said, it's best to use a reference if you don't know where to add any details on a person's face. So I'm going to continue just building up the details on the face. So under the eye here and just along the nose. I'm using a reference just to see where to put these shadows. So the general idea is really just to make the left side of the face lighter than the right side of the face. And now at this stage, you kind of just want to work back and forth, going from adding in highlights and adding in shadows until you've reached that desired realism. So I can't show you every single step because it might be like an hour-long video, but I'm just going to speed it up to show you what I'm doing. make sure that you also add in highlights and shadows to the hair as well. So on the left side of the hair, you just want to make sure coloring inside the lines mode is on and just start to add some highlights in there. And make the left side lighter than the right side. As well as the shirt too, you also want to set coloring inside the lines mode to off. And you want to raise the size as large as you can get and just kind of add some shadow in there. So it looks like he's almost fading into the background. And here's the finished portrait with the lines removed. This technique takes a little bit of time to get the details right, but it's not hard if you use a reference to guide you. If you'd like to see more tutorials like this, don't forget to subscribe to the Color Therapy YouTube channel so you don't miss any new tutorial videos. Thanks for watching our tutorial. You can get the Color Therapy app for free on the App Store.